The show was pretty much self-driving. Johnny comes out, does his 16, 20 jokes, whatever. Everybody loves it. He sits down. He does Aunt Blabby or whatever he does. And then the fun starts. Out come the big stars, the passing of which he lamented. So once he got to the desk and was done, his job was pretty much over. I did not know that. That's all you had to say. The thing that I still love is when it was time to wrap up a segment. You were on his show.
No. Johnny retired before I got the late night show, about a year before I got the late night show. I did have some contact with him because I was working on The Simpsons, and he came by to do an episode. I'll never forget, he drove up in a white Corvette.
Yeah.
And he had a Filofax and 2 cartons of cigarettes. And he came in, and he was fantastic. He did the voice. He played himself. He did the voice. And we all thought, now he's going to leave. What I didn't realize, and what I understand now, is he'd been off the air for a year, and he was in a room full of comedy writers. So we asked, would you sign a few scripts? Be nice if you could. It's no problem if you can't, Mr. Carson. Oh, of course. And he was signing them. And then he started to talk. And he was in no hurry to go. And it was lovely.
Yeah.
Because he started complaining about Bob Hope. And he started talking about how, Bob Hope, the greatest star, greatest career. And he said, I don't do a Johnny Carson impression, but he said, I don't do impressions at all. I do a Mr. T. But he said, Bob Hope, the greatest career. He met, and performed for 11 presidents. He's traveled all over the world. He's known everybody. I'd have him on the show. I'd say, Bob, can you tell us? You were just over in Vietnam. And, yeah, how about that? How about that? And then I'd ask him another question, and he'd go, yeah, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Isn't that something? And it drove Johnny crazy. And I thought, at the time, I'm 28, and I'm sitting here listening to Johnny Carson. I'm sitting like a child on the floor while he sits at a table and complains about Bob Hope, who is, this untouchable icon of comedy that I grew up watching.
Yeah. It's interesting because I've had that experience also with Johnny, where he just would say to me, moan to me, when is he going to retire? What does he have to prove? Why is he doing this? And the way it would work, Bob would do a couple of specials a year, and then for his opening monologue, he would come out and use Johnny's audience.
Yeah.
And this used to drive Johnny crazy as to what, why, when is this going to end? How he's 90 now. How much longer is he going to do it? So there was something. I don't know if it was just envy of Bob's nearly global success, recognition. I don't know what it was, but it's funny that we have that in common.
Well, I also remember him telling a story about, he does his last week of shows, and I think Bob came on that everyone was coming on that last week of Johnny's shows. Everybody's coming out. So sure enough, maybe the second to last night, and by the way, I've always wanted a song that I could walk out to, and I'd like, that's not being used now, so maybe I could get it. But and Bob Hope walks out, and he's carrying a gift wrapped, and he hands it to Johnny, and Johnny knows not to open it on the air and just sets it aside and says to Bob, well, Bob, yeah, isn't that something? How are you?
How about that?
How about that? Isn't that something? Yeah, you met Eisenhower, and he told you so. Yeah, he sure did. That was something. Yeah. And then, anyway, he knew not to open it, and he said, sure enough, after the show, I unwrapped it. And this is the gift that Bob Hope is giving to Johnny Carson after these two titans, one handing a gift to the other. And let's also keep in mind that Bob Hope is the richest landowner in the history of California. Hands him a gift, and afterwards he said, you know what it was? You know what it was? It was a re-gifted VCR.
Yeah.
Just
about right.